For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Israel launched strikes on Gaza today, killing dozens of Palestinians after negotiations broke down following a 7-day truce that saw the exchange of hundreds of Palestinians and Israelis. Israeli airstrikes are now targeting the southern city of Khan Yunis. Leaflets were dropped today urging people to flee. Qatar said negotiators are still trying to reach an agreement on restarting the ceasefire. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken joined Israel in blaming Hamas for striking first. Hamas blames Israel, saying it declined offers to free more hostages after 7 hostages were released and 30 Palestinians were freed from detention. Israel's war in Gaza has killed some 15,000 people and leveled much of the north. Now survivors say there's nothing to go back to. Many are looking to flee what's left of their homeland, Palestine. Rami Amagari reports from Gaza.
Over the past week, Khamis Kutkut, a 40-year-old local investor from the Middle Gaza Strip, has been waiting along with his family to cross via the Rafah crossing terminal en route to Europe. Khamis told Pacifica that the family has no choice now but to leave the territory. Having been an investor in office equipment, Khamis says that he has relentlessly tried to cope with the living conditions across the Israel-besieged Gaza Strip.
I
am owner of a company. I own also a tourist resort, and the resort has been grossly damaged by the airstrikes. I have now been rendered without income. In the past, I used to manage, but now I can no longer. What really matters for me now is to survive such strikes and such a brutal war. Local authorities in Gaza say that initial estimates of financial losses due to current Israeli war on Gaza stand at almost $15 billion. For Pacifica Radio, KPFA, I am Rami Al-Mirari in Gaza.
As world leaders gathered for the COP28 climate summit in Dubai, the collapse of a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war loomed. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres discussed the war as he pled for leaders to do more to curb global warming.
Conflicts are causing immense suffering and intense emotion. We just had the news that the bombs are sounding again in Gaza. And climate chaos is fanning the flames of injustice. Global heating is busting budgets, ballooning food prices, upending energy markets, and feeding a cost of living crisis. But climate action can flip the switch. And renewable energy is the gift that keeps on giving.
The World Meteorological Organization released a report finding this year is set to be the hottest on record and forecasting trends that suggest increasing floods, wildfires, glacier melt, and heat waves in the future. Because of continued ocean warming and melting of glaciers and ice sheets, record sea level rise was also observed. The WMO urges nations to now look towards early warning systems to help nations at greatest risk mitigate the impacts of climate change. Climate and environmental justice activists delivered a petition to the Biden administration Thursday urging the Department of Energy to reject the Calcasieu Pass 2 liquefied natural gas export facility in Louisiana. As climate talks kick off in Dubai, many are looking at natural gas as an alternative to fossil fuels. Opponents say it would emit 20 times as many greenhouse gases as the controversial Willow oil drilling project in Alaska. Rosetta Ozane is founder and director of the Vessel Project. She spoke outside the Department of Energy at the nation's capital.
In my backyard, I have 12 petrochemical facilities. That does not include all of the proposed sites that are coming there. So we are already overburdened and overflowing with fossil fuel extractive industry. We don't need any more.
Earlier this year, the parent company, Venture Global, reported the Calcasieu Pass violated emission limits more than 2,000 times in 2022, meeting emission standards 17% of the time. The House voted on record to expel New York Republican Congressman George Santos today, making him the sixth member in the chamber's history to be ousted by his colleagues. The vote follows a critical ethics report finding Santos misused campaign funds, then tried to lie about it. He faces similar claims in federal court, nearly 24 criminal charges, including allegations he used campaign donors' credit cards for his own personal use. The vote was overwhelming, 305 yeas to 114 nays. 2 Democrats joined 112 Republicans in voting against Santos's expulsion. It's World AIDS Day. The U.S. has seen a slow decline in the overall number of new HIV infections. Between 2015 to 2019, infections fell 8%. Black and Latino communities, particularly gay and bisexual men, continue to be disproportionately affected, according to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court, has died. She was 93. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.